Ukraine seems to be systematically targeting Russian strategic early warning sensors. Satellite imagery taken on May 23rd confirms a Russian Voronezh-DM radar site in the southwestern end of the country at Armavir was substantially damaged in a reported Ukrainian drone attack. The satellite image aligns with pictures taken from ground level that emerged on social media. The Armavir attack was followed by a more daring, long-distance strike. On May 26th, a Ukrainian drone hit Voronezh-M radar installation near the city of Orsk, which is around 1,000 miles, or 1,600 kilometers from Kyiv. In this video, Defense Updates analyzes why attacks on Russian strategic Voronezh radars have grave implications. Let's get started. Before we proceed, a word on NordVPN, which is one of the most trusted VPN brands worldwide that has a no-log policy validated by Deloitte, an industry-leading Big Four auditing firm. NordVPN provides an encrypted tunnel that protects your privacy by preventing external entry to your internet traffic, as well as enabling you to access content that's blocked based on geolocation. Best of all, with one NordVPN account, you can secure up to 6 devices at the same time. Get an exclusive NordVPN deal with massive savings by going to nordvpn.com/defense or clicking the link in the description. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Voronezh radars are the current generation of Russian ultra-high-frequency, early warning, over-the-horizon radar, providing extended-range monitoring of airspace against ballistic missile attacks and aircraft. It's named after the river Voronezh and follows the same pattern of Soviet radars being named after a river. The first radar of this generation was built in Lektusi near St. Petersburg and became operational in 2009. There is a plan to replace older radars with the Voronezh by 2020, but unclear if this transition has been made or not. It's estimated that a total of 10 are deployed in various parts of the country, which differ in their operating frequency ranges. Russia had used the launch of these radars to raise its concerns about U.S. missile defense in Europe. At the launch of the Kaliningrad radar in November 2011, Russian President Dmitry Medvedev was quoted as saying, "I expect that this step, the launch of the radar, will be seen by our partners as the first signal of our country's readiness to make an adequate response to the threats which the missile shield poses for our strategic nuclear forces." There are reports that mention Moscow wanting to build a radar of the Voronezh family in the occupied Crimea. The new radar was supposed to replace one of those Dnepr radars that was located near Sevastopol. At that time, the project was scheduled to be completed by 2024. However, there is currently no information that the Russians have even begun construction of the facility. Voronezh radar is an over-the-horizon, or OTH radar. The frequency of radio waves used by most radars, in the form of microwaves, travel in straight lines. This generally limits the detection range of radar systems to objects on the horizon, generally referred to as line of sight due to the curvature of the Earth. OTH radars use various techniques to see beyond that limit. 2 techniques are most commonly used: short-wave systems that refract their signals off the ionosphere for very long-range detection, and surface-wave systems, which use low-frequency radio waves that, due to diffraction, follow the curvature of the Earth to reach beyond the horizon. Armavir radar is the second radar of this generation and is a Voronezh-DM radar. In this case, the DM means that the radar near Armavir operated in the decimeter radio frequency range. It was designed by NPK NIDAR and was officially launched back in 2009 and was said to be fully operational in 2015. It has a horizontal range of 6,000 kilometers or 3,730 miles and a vertical range of 8,000 kilometers or 4,970 miles and is capable of simultaneously tracking 500 objects. At a distance of 8,000 kilometers, The radar can detect targets the size of a football. Besides ballistic and cruise missiles, the system is said to be capable of spotting space objects. According to the publicly available diagram showing the radar's field of view, the Voronezh-DM that was hit covers the Balkans and the Mediterranean, Asia, including the Persian Gulf, and also partially covers the Crimean Peninsula. Radar in Orsk is Voronezh-M. Voronezh-M works in the meter range of wavelengths, VHF, and was designed by RTI Mintz. It was reportedly fully operational in December 2017. The performance is expected to be similar to the Armavir sensor. The Voronezh radars are described as highly prefabricated, meaning that they have a setup time of months rather than years and need fewer personnel than previous generations. They're also modular so that radar can be brought into partial operation whilst being incomplete. The Russians have emphasized that the radars of the Voronezh family were more efficient in terms of resources required for building than Soviet-era Dnepr radars. It was noted that while a Dnepr construction took 5 to 7 years, a single Voronezh radar could be made in under 12 to 18 months. A Voronezh-M is claimed to cost 2.85 billion rubles and a Voronezh-DM 4.3 billion rubles. This is not the first time Ukrainians have targeted Russian over-the-horizon radar systems. In late April 2024, a Ukrainian UAV strike successfully hit a critical component of the 29B6 container radar, a unique asset of which the Russian military possesses only one unit. It's intriguing why Russia keeps strategic objects of such importance without any air defense cover, or if the air defense systems are not able to perform the duties. The attacks seem to be designed to blind the Russian military, which could enable Ukraine to strike with greater impunity in the future. But this type of attack on strategic assets has far-reaching ramifications. These may be crossing the red line and look like meeting the conditions the Russian government laid out publicly in 2020 for actions that could trigger a nuclear retaliatory strike. According to the basic principles of state policy of the Russian Federation on nuclear deterrence, the Kremlin put out 2 years ago, the conditions specifying the possibility of nuclear weapons use by the Russian Federation include any attack by an adversary against critical governmental or military sites of the Russian Federation, disruption of which would undermine nuclear forces' response actions. Russia's early warning network is part of the country's broader nuclear deterrent posture, and strikes on this are a big deal.
Subscribe for more videos like this. Hit the like button if you find the video interesting, and kindly provide your feedback in the comment section. This will help us improve.